Our next mom is Madeline Brame. So Madeline, we've heard your story. It's also a very moving story. Would you join the moms here and tell us, a mom of 5 from New York City?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Madeline Brame, and I am the mother of Sergeant Hassan Correa. Hassan was an Afghanistan war retired veteran. He received and returned enemy fire on the Taliban. He survived the battlefield of Kandahar to only come home in Harlem in 2018 and be slaughtered in the street by 4 career criminals that had no business being free. He was stabbed to death, killed like an animal, left in the street in the gutter to bleed to death. All 4 of these people were apprehended, 2 brothers, a sister, and their friend, all between the ages of 35 and 40 years old. So these are not children that we're speaking of. These are full-blown adults who know the difference between right and wrong. The 3 men have been out of the penitentiary since they were teenagers, so they know what they were doing was wrong. All 4 were apprehended. I have to give a big up to the NYPD, the 32nd Precinct in Manhattan for, and the homicide squad and the fugitive squad. In 7 months, all 4 of these individuals were apprehended. This was during the time where the old school district attorney was in office in New York. If anybody knows about Cyrus Vance, all right, played hardball, didn't play no games, was no joke. And all 4 of these individuals were charged with first-degree gang assault and second-degree murder, all right? The 3 men were supposed to never get out of prison again because of their criminal history. And the female, the sister, had never been in trouble, but I was assured that she would get at least 25 to life because this entire incident was captured on video. So there was no mistaken identity. There was no mistake in what these people did until 2020 when Alvin Bragg hopped his happy behind up into the Manhattan District Attorney's office, and his day 1 memo said that he was no longer going to be prosecuting criminals, including murderers. He held true to that, right? Long story short, 2 of the individuals responsible for my son's murder were released. Alvin Bragg dismissed murder and gang assault indictments against both of them, and the 2 brothers, they received 20 to life. That's the most time that anyone can get for homicide right now in New York City is 20 years. Used to be 25, all right? But because of these soft on crime policies, this bail reform, and all this other crap that they put into place, defund the police and all this other kind of stuff in New York City, all right, that has turned our city into a complete you-know-what hole, all right? So, Alvin Bragg is one of those prosecutors that is prosecuting our President Trump, right? They told me the reason why they couldn't take all 4 of these people to trial is because they didn't have the resources to try all 4 individuals when they had $250 million to go after Trump. All right, so this is the excuse. So in light of this, right, the only recourse I had was to find my voice, find my strength, because I knew that if I was going through this, that hundreds and thousands of mothers and families all across the United States of America are going through the same thing, right? So I started on the crusade. I started out in front of the court building with a bullhorn and a sign by myself, all right? And I did that. I did that for a few years. I did it for a few years until people, the media, Fox 5, Fox picked up on it, Newsmax picked up on it. Who in here knows Rudy Giuliani? Rudy picked up on it, Andrew picked up on it, and it was the Republicans who reached out to me and supported me, all right? The Democrats shunned me, ostracized me, turned their back on me because my boy was stabbed to death and not shot to death, all right? So they made a difference, They made a difference. Long story short, because I'm running out of time, I can go on forever, okay? But I'm running out of time. My thing is, I have an organization called Rescue Angel. And Rescue Angel, we provide services for mothers and families across the United States to help them navigate the court system, all right? Yes. Assign court buddies, all kinds of things to help these mothers get through the most devastating experience that they will ever experience in their life. The loss or, brutal murder of a child with no justice and no recourse. So I thank you all for being here tonight. And let's do this together. Moms across America, we've had enough. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Well, you can see why we invited her to come and speak, of course. God bless her, and our condolences to anyone that has lost a child.
Well, and I just want to say that I know that this mother speaks for hundreds and hundreds of mothers across the country, because we hear from them. Yeah. And you have given them a voice, and we are so grateful for that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Next we have Madeline Brame. She is from New York, and she has a specific question for you regarding her son.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Vice President JD Vance.
Knock on wood.
She's claiming it.
That's good.
You actually heard my story at the RNC. I spoke about my son.
Of course, okay. Of course.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
What I want to know, what my question is what will a Trump-Vance administration do to strengthen and protect the rights for families of homicide victims legislatively?
Yes, ma'am. Well, first of all, again, I'm sorry that your government failed you, and I promise you that when we're in office, we're going to try to make sure that your government doesn't fail the next person who's dealing with what you're dealing with. And here's the basic issue. The progressives, and I don't think this is true of most Democrats, by the way, but the leadership of the Democratic Party has gotten in their mind that law enforcement is inherently racist. And I think that's a real disgrace. It's led us to, frankly, dismiss a lot of good cops, and it's meant that we don't empower people to go after the truly bad guys. And what I find so crazy about all this is, if you look at the statistics, ma'am, it is a very, very small number of people who commit the gross majority of the violent crime in our communities, right? This is not the gross majority of our citizens, whether they're white, black, or whatever, are law-abiding people. There is a very narrow slice of our country that commits chronic violent crime. And the thing that we have to do is change the laws, but most importantly, empower law enforcement to go after the bad guys, lock them up, so they're not hurting more kids like yours. That is fundamentally what you have to do. And what I think is I just can't believe that one half of our political leadership has gotten in their head that if you lock up criminals, that's somehow a bad thing. Locking up violent criminals is one of the core functions of government, right? And you don't have to lock that many people up. Just lock up the violent criminals, and we could do so much better. And part of this is legislative too. And I've sponsored legislation to this effect. We're getting to a point where we've got a major law enforcement crisis in our country. We've got a lot of great police officers that aren't re-upping. You've got a lot of great young men and women who don't want to become police officers because they think it's too hard of a job. We are going to have to really fix the pay and benefits for our local law enforcement so that they get the pay they deserve, but most importantly, so that we get the right people serving as police officers. Because if you think it's bad now, and unfortunately the crime rates are not in a good place right now, it's going to be a lot worse in 5 years if we don't get better people coming into law enforcement, because you've got a lot of very good people who are getting out of law enforcement right now.
Right.
Thank you, ma'am.